let's take a look at brush knee twist step in the Michuan style. So in the form, and this is a move that we see a lot, right? In the form we see here, here, big step, squat, brush knee, push. It's called brush knee twist step for a reason. It's because you brush the knee, you twist the hips, and then you step. So again, here, brush knee, twist, step. And again, this is a move that we can deconstruct. So it's a named move, which means it's a grouping of some of the core 8 moves that together makes a very effective application. So, but what is it? So first of all, roll back, right? Very simple, roll back. Somebody throws a punch at the face, deflect. Deflect, and if this is where you have also this application, which is you've grabbed the arm, tiger's mouth, yank back, because in the form there's a very, very clear roll back, and you look back, and then you look front. So there's a clear moment in the form itself, in the application, where your intent is back. And this is because somebody throws a punch, and you can just throw them back, right? You deflect and you send them backwards. So that could be the end of the move right there. But again, we assume our opponent is competent, so we've deflected, right? Yank or pluck backwards, doesn't fall, so he's still in front of me over there. So I look, sit down, big step, and then I ward off. Now here the important thing is I'm pushing off the rear leg while doing the ward off. So in this case, this is my left hand, so I'm pushing off the right leg using my left hand to brush the knee. Then my right hand, which is connected to my left leg, doesn't come into play until I've done that turn of the hips. So I'm squaring my hips and I step forward. So now my weight is on the left leg, right hand comes in and pushes. So it's that turn from one leg to the other to propel the power, which is important here, right? Ward off or brush knee here, rear leg, front hand. So I'm pushing with this leg. Once this motion is finished, then I turn, and it's that turn. You can see how that turning of the hip propels that front arm. So the power isn't coming from the hand or the shoulder. The power is coming from the turn of the hips, right? So I'm turning and boom. Eventually, all this is done at the same time, right? Because as always, in the form, we're always breaking things down so that we give ourselves time to understand the mechanics of everything. In the end, it would be done as a single move, right? It's a single deflect and move. This, so roll back, yank, ward off, push. That's what it's made out of. Notice here, ward off. I want to maintain the arc of the hand, so I'm not going too far this way or my shoulder is now open and there's no strength. It's right here. Right? Brush knee. I'm brushing my opponent's knee. So my palm catches his leg and I push. And I only need to push a little bit, which is why we're not going all the way here. We're just going to here. And notice that, again, we have the same structure that we find in the basic posture and everything else, which means the back is rounded, the shoulder joints are open, the arms are rounded, so that you're creating this arc in the arm, because that arc is stronger, right? You don't want to overextend your elbow, and you don't want your elbow at 90 degrees because this is weak. You want to find that arc, which connects essentially your fingertips to your spine, right? It goes all the way across. You're creating this nice long arc. So here, that push is not the arm moving, it's the hips moving. And then this push here, again, it's not the hand shooting forward, it's the hips moving, boom. And so it looks like my arm sweeping through space is doing this with my arm, But actually all I'm doing with my arm is this. There's barely any movement because everything is powered by the hips, right? It's the hips that are moving that makes my arm move through space. And that's why at the end, when I'm turning the hips for that push, it looks like my arm is traveling all the way over here. It looks like I'm doing this big giant move. But again, it's because my hips are turning, right? But my arm in relationship to my shoulder hasn't moved at all. So you have this kind of big expansive movement. You have this amplitude of it, but it's generated by the hips, not by the arms. In terms of the arms, it's actually quite conservative in the sense that once my hands are here, right, they're basically in front of my body, right? If I don't move them, just turn the hips, boom. I have practically the entirety of the move right here in the hips. So the arms just need to be a little more relaxed, a little more rubbery, right? So they're just going to move, but they're always going to be centered in your back, in your spine, right, where the shoulders meet. So the back is nice and rounded. Once you have that rounded, because remember, the rounded back means that your back muscles are engaged. So your back muscles are actually supporting the shoulders and supporting your arms. So it's a very strong structure. So once you have that structure here, which is why also this backhand is not here, it's not by your ear, because now my shoulders is overstretched, there's no power. It's here, because now I have again that roundedness. So I'm here, I have that rounded shape, right, with the arms, and then again, like I said before, just the hips turning gets you 90% of the move. Just the hips turning, and then stepping. And the step is again the turning of the hip, right? So that's the important idea to remember when doing this. If you focus too much on the arms, then first of all, it's just hands waving in the air, right? But also then you miss where the power's coming from. Then you're just kind of stepping, even if you do a big step, you're just like, right? You're just moving the hands through space. There's no power. The power comes from the waist. The power is the legs pushing forward, the waist is the commander directing the power. So when I'm here, it's a step, it's that turn. That creates the momentum that you need in order to do the application correctly, right? And that's why it's not a matter of muscle strength or arm strength. It's about legs and hips coordinating the entire body so that the upper body is doing something, but it's powered by the lower body. That's the core idea that we're going to find throughout all the applications, really. But it's especially evident here in brush knee twist step. It looks like this giant arm move, but it's actually a giant hip move. Right? And that's what you want to remember. It's all in the hips. If I'm here and I throw a punch, all right, so the first half is throw the punch, rise up in the back, and this can be, that can be the end. That can be, if I'm overcommitted to the punch, and it's very easy, so let's do that again. It's the deflection, and then the rear hand is just simply doing a yank and throws me off. So it's roll back and a slight yank, and that's what, all right, remember in the form, we look back and then we look front. That look back is simply because, if we do it again, here, sending me that way, well, and I'm going that way. But, as usual with Tai Chi applications, the assumption is that your attacker is not completely, terrible. So this happens, but I'm too solid, so I'm not flying back. So now is the big step, and the brush knee, and the push, exactly. All right, so the main idea here is that big step and the foot, so that the brushing of the knee, so when you do brush knee, you're brushing your opponent's knee, and this is the situation that you're creating, right? Because basically, you're making me unbalanced so that what follows up, so if I'm here, what follows up is that push. The push doesn't have to have a lot of power behind it because I'm already off balance. So the weight difference doesn't matter because I'm already halfway falling down. So that's why we have that big step, and why, right, we're going deep and low is because, so sorry, let's take it from the top. So if I throw the punch, I'm here, but I resist, I'm not falling, so now step in, and then, so into it one last time. So again, if we break it down into what's happening, so this is rollback, so this is deflection of the punch, and then we're gonna yank slightly, which is what her energy is going up and back because it's trying to lead me back there, but that doesn't work. I'm too heavy, I'm too well settled. So now we're gonna go for the knee. And this is the big step, this is the brushing, and this is the push, right? That's the essence of brush knee. It's called brush knee because she's literally brushing my knee. So you're in the form, you're going in front of your knee, but it's not really your knee. There's no point in brushing your own knee unless it's dirty. But the idea is that brushing, and this is where push, exactly. And notice the foot, and the foot binding here is really important, right? So the stepping is not just a big step in order to get into my space, it's also to make sure that I can't move my foot out of the way. Because if the foot wasn't there, I could just move and then I'm still in play. But if I'm here, I can't move. So when that knee push arrives, so there's nowhere for my foot to go, and then I'm screwed and I'm gonna fall back, right? So that's why this big step is important, right? And you're binding my ankle so my foot can't go as it's being pushed in the opposite direction. And notice that because of that, sorry, one last time, the push doesn't have to be very far. It's not pushing that way very far. Just here is enough to break my stance. Now I'm off balance and I can fall. And I think it's one of the mistakes that people make where they think brush knee's way over there. It can be right here, right here. Notice that, sorry, we're gonna freeze just at the moment of push, but in the ward off right here, what you're looking for is that arc from spine to wrist. So if you were to go further, the shoulder joint opens and there's less strength. But if you're here, now it's nice arc, and that's where all the strength, and that's all you need because now you've shifted and you're gonna go and push. So that's why we don't need to go too far, just right here, everything is supported, and then it becomes quick. Because again, in the form, it would all happen at the same time, right? So it's not the same beat. If I'm here, deflection, and then this is one single beat of boom, boom. One single wave of energy, and I just can't resist it because it's happening at the same time. Right? So that's the idea.